Graduated from Winona High School, and she is going to tell about her experience. She had an opportunity to go abroad on a trip to teach, I guess you would say in another country, the culture of the United States and about the things that they have experienced in Winona High School. Talk to them. You can talk to them.
Hi. Yes, so the Black Women's Roundtable and Black People afforded me with the opportunity to go abroad, like Ms. Tyson said. And through the opportunity, they collaborated with this organization called Destination Liberation, which is an all-girls trip where we went to Cartagena, Colombia. And through that trip, we went to villages, and we met people of that country where like they speak Spanish. So we had to adapt to that and assimilate and understand how different the United States is versus over there in London. And so for it to be an educational trip, it was really amazing because we also got to have that fun side and also fun with different girls all over the United States. So we had girls from Chicago, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Georgia. And so we all just came from different places and we got to share our backgrounds with the people of the village. And you saw different things like here we have like Wi-Fi, and we have cable and things to watch TV, and all the children that didn't have those things down in the village, they were there just playing outside, and then we also got to teach them dances, show them songs, we got to paint for them, paint their houses, even paint their sign at their park. And then we went island hopping, which we got to see different islands and ride boats. Like that was a new experience for me because I had never rode a boat before. So being on the boat and then you see those experiences and then be in the water. We went to a mud volcano, which is like a mud massage, and that was also incredibly new for me. And so I just thank Sheila Tyson for giving me this opportunity, and I think it's important to have opportunities like these for girls like me in the South that probably wouldn't have gotten this if it wasn't for her and people like you. So I think it's extremely important to always have these options available and to present them to young girls and even young boys like myself.
I just wanted to say that it's actually 72 girls this year in the program, and Ebony was chosen out of an essay out of those 72. So we have another event that will be planned for September 16th through the 17th, which is a mobile tour of celebrities and artists that will actually be coming through Birmingham. They will be here from the 16th to the 18th. Ebony will participate in that program, and 72 girls out of the school system all over Jefferson County will have that opportunity. They also, in March, they have an opportunity to travel to D.C. to talk and to actually tell the legislators and the Congress people exactly what goes on in their town and cities where they come from. This is just an opportunity for Jefferson County, but it's all over the state of Alabama. These girls are chosen out of the school system. They go from the 6th grade all the way up to 26, and that's when you go to grad school. They even actually are awarded some scholarships, and they participate in that. And they go into underserved communities, and that is to give the opportunity for young girls to actually participate. They might want to run for public office. They might want to start their own company. They want to be the CEO of a major company. This right here gives them that opportunity and that exposure to where they can be whatever they want to be in their future. So this is one of the scholarships that she's actually going to Emory. We will assist her through that process. We will miss her, and she will come home during the summer and volunteer in the program and help other students actually get to where she's at.
All right, thank you. Congratulations. Commissioners, next we have the approval of the minutes for July 14, 2022. Are there any corrections, additions, or revisions to those minutes?
Move that we dispense the reading of the minutes, adopt them as written.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the public hearings. The first zoning case we have, 220005, has been asked to be carried over. Mr. Morris, what is the date and time of the we carry over?
I believe the next hearing for the county commission, we've got scheduled for the second hearing in August, which is August the 22nd.
That's probably gonna be all,
It's, yeah,
that's ACCA week, so
Oh,
let's be sure before we reset.
all right, well, if that's the case.
let's do it the first meeting in September, which we just set that.
Okay.
And that date is, Mr. Liberto.
To check that schedule.
Well, I have someone who needs to know.
Is it the 8th or 15th?
It's the 8th.
15th. September the 8th will be our next meeting. You can't be here on that. Oh. I'm going to go outside the rules and let Mr. Trick say something.
Oh, that's tricky.
Thank you. Who is this?
Hey,
Name is Phil Turkett, and I'm here to speak on that case.
and I need your address too.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7536 Wood Creek Drive. I'm here to speak on that case, but before I did so, the reason I want to be recognized is that I wanted to find out when it's going to be postponed to, because I'm out of town the first week of September after Labor Day. Family situation, so I've got to travel down to Mobile that week. But I can prepare my comments, and I've got them prepared already. I can send them to you. If it's a great problem to postpone that meeting, I can give you my opposition in a letter.
That would be fine.
Okay.
That would be
But also I wanted to speak because I deal with race deal with many different zoning departments throughout the state of Alabama and many other states. And I feel compelled to tell you that you have one of the best. I've dealt with them, they're highly professional, especially Mike, who is an old friend, but they're very, you should be proud of that department.
He is old.
All right. So zoning case number 1 has been postponed to September 8th. Now, I'd like to address the remaining cases. I have looked through the speakers list, and this was the only case that had opposition. Okay. I see a crowd.
Mr. Chairman, I think others have opposition. I don't, and maybe you're saying they don't have anybody.
There's no one that's gonna speak, so what I'm gonna do, the case that you're referring to is the last one.
Right.
So I'm going to try to go through all of the other cases as quickly as we can within the constraints of the law, okay? Because your time is valuable, and we wanna make sure that we adhere to that. Okay, with that being said, case Z 22022, Tyler Wilder wants to go from A1 to C1 for a child development center in McCall.
Yes, sir. On this particular request, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval with a couple of conditions. However, staff is recommending to modify those conditions just to maintain consistency with the development of this order. Staff is recommending a condition that the site plan and architectural renderings be submitted for approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The architecture should be similar to those other recently approved developments along Eastern Valley Road, and a parking lot lighting shall be directed downward and away from any adjacent properties. Just to give you a quick idea, we've approved these two developments. One's the Dollar General, which is directly in front of this site. The other is a gas station that's further down to the southwest at the corner of Eastern Valley and Madison Road. Both of those have some sort of like a rustic, agrarian architecture, and we just want to be sure we impose the same standards uniformly in this particular area.
Thank you. Like to open a public hearing for case Z 22022. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to this case? Seeing none, public hearing is closed.
Mr. Morrison, I do have a comment. In your comments, you said something about the look and.
Correct.
You know, one time I heard you say shall, and then one time I heard you say should. When we say should, that doesn't really bind anybody.
Okay, we can change that language.
Okay. Okay, but, second.
I have a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing no opposition, Z 220023, traffic support and ambulance, tree supporter owners. It is agent wants to go from I-1 to A1 to use to include a mobile home.
That's correct. This is just a standard town zone. The property was rezoned institutional back in the early 2000s, I believe. And the church never materialized on the property, but the zoning has maintained that. They just want to rezone it to put mobile home property.
Open a public hearing, Z 220023. Is there anyone speaking in favor of or in opposition to this request? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There is no opposition. Z 220025, Katie Posey, owner, Brown Personnel Agent, wants to change from A1 to CN for neighborhood commercial to C1 commercial for a convenience store and gas station on Warrior Jasper Road.
Yes, sir. Thank you, see on the zoning map, this property is near the intersection of Warrior Jasper Road and where Mount Olive Road and Corner School Road converge. There's a small structure on the property that's currently for commercial, that's been zoned for CN for neighborhood commercial, currently operating as a bingo hall. The applicants are requesting this rezoning in order to construct a gas station on the property.
Thank you. Like to open the public hearing on Z 220025. Same conditions. Anyone speaking in favor of or in opposition to this? Seeing none, public hearing is closed.
Is the bingo hall still there?
Yes, sir. Last staff has confirmed that, yes.
Does the applicant have any intention of keeping that open?
I don't believe so. I believe all that's going away to construct a new gas station. It's a gas station / convenience store.
Are they here?
I believe the engineer for the applicant answered yes.
I'm Brian Preston.
We got the public hearing.
With public hearing is open, yes, and then.
I would pose the same question to you, sir. About the bingo.
Name and address.
Yeah.
And your,
Brian Preston, 1703 McConnell Lane, Mount Olive, 39117. The current structure will be demolished. There's a lease on the building, and it does not expire, I think, until September or October. But my client who's purchasing the property, once it's rezoned, will demolish the existing building that's there.
And will they also demolish the bingo activity?
That's correct, yes.
Thank you, sir.
public hearing is now closed.
Move on.
Second.
Motion been made, second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Lynn Coal Company, Z 220026. Tom Summon agent, this is located on 2542 Bone Drive Road, Trafford, Alabama.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of this in this particular area of the county. You have this legacy industrial zoning that's being turned over, and they plan on subdividing it to large lot residential development.
Like open public hearing on Z 220026. Anyone speaking in favor of or in opposition to this particular issue? Again, saying none, public hearing is now closed.
Move on.
Second.
Items been moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, it has passed. Z 220027, 4234 Red Wing Lane. Wants to move from A1 to C1 to agriculture to remove the split zone.
That's correct.
Like to open a public hearing at this time for Z 220027. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to this? Seeing no public hearing closed.
Move on.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Z 220028, Joey Woods, personal representative for the state of Eugene Hassel. This case is on 8140 Kimbrell Cutoff Road in McCall. We're looking to go from an A1 agriculture to an RG single family for a garden home subdivision.
Yes, sir. In this particular request, the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend a condition that a traffic study be completed, submitted, and reviewed and approved by the Department of Roads and Transportation. If you look on the screen, this is the aerial photograph of the area, and the proposed development will be of similar densities to that which is around it, and they do plan on connecting to Lakeview Sanitary Sewer System.
So this is way down in the southern part of the county down.
Yes, sir. Roxbrook, the county line.
How many homes? 28
77.
on 12 acres?
Yes, sir.
This is on 8140 Kimbrell Cutoff Road. Show me on that, where our, our property goes almost down to Kimbrell Cutoff.
Correct. Yeah. Well, you see you see right there where it says Tuscaloosa County. That is actually the county line. That line is directly on the side.
And this is on the southern side of Kimbrell.
Northern side of Kimbrell. Kimbrell's the road that
Yes, yeah.
the south, and then the eastern valley borders it to the east.
Yeah, Eastern Valley and Old Tuscaloosa Highway, it connects them and runs diagonal to the railroad track.
Right, and this property goes behind where there's an existing cemetery that's there right there. That's that small rectangular piece that's in the front that's cut out of this.
Right.
Look,
Since this was a subdivision, we'll make sure that everyone understood where it was. This isn't rezoning for a simple piece. Like to open a public hearing, Z 220028. Is there anyone in the audience who can speak in favor of and in opposition to this? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Chair will entertain a motion. Item's been moved.
Yeah, you can say.
I'll second. I'll second. Here we go. All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
88 on 12.
All right, we have Z 220029 Douglas Farms LLC. Joe Miller, agent. They want to establish 30 condominiums. Is that what that is? Yeah. Right off of across used to be Birmingham Cadillac, right now on Capitol, it's on the right there. It's in the middle of Hoover,
correct.
but it's unincorporated.
Correct.
Go ahead.
In this particular instance, the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval with condition, again, for the submission and approval of a traffic impact study by the Department of Roads and Transportation. This rezoning complies with policy of the land use plan for this area, which calls for general transition from the more commercial uses along Old Columbiana Road to the residential uses further to the west along Patton Chapel Road. This lot is recently created. It was originally subdivided, and the intended use was for a clubhouse for an adjacent garden home development to be developed. Since then, the owners have changed their plans and wish to do this condominium unit. I will note that down in November of last year, the county commission did approve a condominium development on the curve of Patton Chapel, just further to the south, a couple of parcels away. And this would be in keeping with that, as well as the multifamily development to the north, which is in Hoover. You had asked Tuesday about Hoover's take on this particular request. I did send an email to their city planner, and their city planner did say that it did not pose a conflict with their land use plan. However, they did have concerns about drainage from the site, which is something that we'll address during the construction plan phase.
And at the same time, before we open the public hearing, if there's any in favor or in opposition to, I have spoken with the mayor and the city administrator, and they wanted to add a stipulation that they would use the city of Hoover fire protection, since it was right in the middle of Hoover. And with that being added, there was no opposition. we okay?
What other choice would they have? They didn't-
Rocky Ridge.
Rocky Ridge.
That being said, Mr. President, then,
I can only go to the public hearing.
oh, I noticed, yeah, I was about to ask, are they here?
Yeah,
See if they gonna agree to that.
Yeah, they did. I watched the video. Like to open a public hearing, Z 22-0029. The Douglas Farms condominium project. Is there anyone that's speaking in favor of or in opposition to this?
What's there now?
No.
Todd Thompson, MTTR Engineers, number 3 Road Chase Ridge, starting in 35244. To address the drainage, there's an existing pond on site, and our intention will be going to that pond. And then the pond subsequently will be cleaned up and become an amenity to the development.
You know, we've had so much negative publicity about drainage around that, which is challenging. We just want to make sure that you do it right, and I'm going to instruct our land planning and our development services to make sure it is. Okay, understood. Okay, thank you.
What is, whose pond is it?
It's all located on the property that the condominiums will be. The pond stays in place. To the south of the pond is the area that the condominiums will be located.
We don't want it to be our pond. Let it
Be a
be
private pond.
Hoover pond.
Right, be a private pond.
Thank you.
All right, just, anyone at this time, the public hearing is closed. Chair will entertain a motion.
Move the item as presented with the Q condition requested by the city of Hoover for the fire protection.
And a motion, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Z 22-0030 Walker Family Holdings. This is for, on 43 Eddy Valley Road. Really, it's in trouble, 3 1/4 acres. Wants to go from C1 to agriculture.
Yes, sir. Back in 2015, this property was rezoned to C1 with some covenants. There's been no development that has materialized on the property, and the applicant just wishes to rezone it back to A1 area.
Yes. Like open a public hearing at this time, Z 22-0030. Is there anyone speaking in favor of or in opposition to this? Seeing none, public hearing is closed.
Move the item.
Second.
Item been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next case, Z 22-0032, Richard and Karen White, owner, Stephen Gilbert is going to be the agent. And we're talking about 853 Hickory Drive in Mount Olive.
Yes, sir. This is a situation where the property owner and the adjacent property owner have arranged to convey some property. And this small sliver that you see on the screen is actually being purchased by the residential property owner to the east. And this will just bring the entirety of their lot, their newly created lot, which includes this portion of the property, under the same zoning classification.
Like open the public hearing now, for Z 22-0032. Anyone wishes to speak to this particular agenda item? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Move the item.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Case passes. 022-0036. Anna Velagas, owner, wants to change from an A1 and C1 to A1 to remove split zone. That was pretty easy.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
Man,
we skipped over 34. 22-0034.
I did. And I apologize. No, I checked it, didn't do it.
Okay.
Let's do this one and we'll go back. Z 22-0036, change from split zoning to remove the split zone.
That's correct.
And that is in, Pawnee.
Yes, sir, off of 79 Highway. There's a small portion of the property that has C1 zoning that was done until 1966. Currently, there's no commercial use of the property, and this just brings the property
Brings
rights
it
up.
together, that sounds good. Like over the public hearing case, Z220036.
You need 3, 4.
No, I'm talking about 36 right now.
Oh,
Is there anyone speaking in favor of or in opposition to that? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. I need someone to move
All
it.
that.
Okay, move the item second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go back to Z220034. Casey Ring, personal representative for the state of James Williams. 36 lot subdivision, Forestdale, Alabama.
Yes, sir, this is more or less an infill development project. In this area, you'll notice there's subdivisions that's to the south. There is a property to the west that is already zoned R1S. The applicant just wishes to further subdivide this property and complete some of the streets in the area for just single-family residential development. This will give you an idea of how he's planning on to divide the property. You'll see it just kind of blends in with the fabric of everything established in the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval, and this is in compliance with the county land use plan.
Okay, thank you. Like open public hearing now, Z220034. Anyone wish to address this either? Looks like everyone's quiet.
Mr. President, is the applicant here?
Is the applicant for the subdivision here? Correct.
Why don't you close the applicant?
I'll close the public hearing this time and ask Commissioner Scales.
Yes, Mr. President, I just want to say that my staff did get with Mr. Morrison and looked at the property, took several photos. My main concern was to make sure that the existing properties that this particular project would be complementary to the community as it exists right now. My staff is also of the opinion that it would probably increase property values, being that this will be a new, subdivision or development in that community. So I would move at this moment, at this point in time, rather, that zoning case 22-0034 be approved at this time.
Second. Have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Confirm you, just before we continue on the 220029, that's the condominium issue in Hoover. And I think we made a motion, passed a motion that this was subject to the jurisdiction of the Hoover fire.
That's correct.
I think we need to make a little inquiry into that because and maybe by law, has to be under Rock Ridge. That's what I've been notified of.
I hate to even address it now with the applicant. Did they leave or
They did leave.
Okay, man, that's fine, just point of order, but, hopefully we didn't do something that we can't do.
Well, then, let me ask this, Mr. President, especially Mr. Morrison, for you. Being that we've already published this meeting and therefore we've already taken action on the item itself, if that does turn out to be the case, I guess really that's not for you, that's for the county attorney. Then if it has to be brought back up, county attorney, if there is some type of legality surrounding that, then it would come back before the commission so that we can then make take an action at that point.
If there is a law that requires this to be in the Rocky Ridge Fire District, then it really is not going to matter. So that law will supersede any condition that you make.
Zoning didn't come change in that zoning won't be subject to that stipulation. Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Brooks. Sorry.
That was a consideration that they asked for, and stipulation that we placed into it. And if that stipulation is not there because of law, it goes away. Thank you. All right, our last case is Z 220037. Susan Elizabeth Sanders, Tucker, Patty Carroll Sanders, Wolford, Jennifer Williams Sanders, both right. Pamela Claire Sanders, daughter, are the owners. This is for a residential subdivision, 57 proposed lots in Morris, Alabama. Mr. Morris.
Yes, sir. This is a request to rezone and subdivide this large property that is along Falkland Road and is bordered to the north by the Locust Fork of the Warrior River, I believe. This proposed subdivision will essentially mirror the subdivision on the opposite side of the river from this one. And also, if you look at the zoning map or land use map, you'll see that this particular type of development, this type of density, is comparable to what is being approved in the municipalities in the area. And because of that, it applies to the policies of the land use plan where we honor the developmental patterns of the adjacent municipalities.
Okay, is the applicant here? Is there anyone in the audience, I'd like to open a public hearing at this time with Z 220037. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of and in opposition to this?
I can speak in favor of.
Go ahead.
Come on up.
All right.
We ran through this whole agenda just to give you this time.
That's my name, Greg. My name's Greg Nye. Address is 880 Montclair Road, Birmingham. This is a 66-acre development. We're looking at 57 proposed residential lots going from A1 to R1 rezoning. There was some opposition at the Planning Commission. We were asked by the Planning Commission to meet with Deborah New, who is the president of the Homeowners Association for Open Brook, the subdivision to the north. We addressed our concerns regarding tree clearing, stormwater runoff to Turkey Creek. Another item that we've addressed on this is Michael asked us to go with a minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet. So that's our minimum lot size on our development, but most of the lots are much bigger than that. We placed an area that is in the floodplain, floodway along Turkey Creek. We placed that within a conservation lot to restrict development in that area. And so I'd be happy to address any questions or comments.
How big is that conservation area?
Look it up.
How many acres is that?
It's on the southern one. It's 5.1 acres.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I do. On-site sewer, where will you put your sewer?
That will be towards the entrance on the lower right-hand corner of the plan. I believe there's, I can give you the acres on that as well. Roughly 5 acres that we have there.
Will you empty into the Turkey Creek?
It'll be infiltration, it won't be a direct discharge.
Okay. And I noticed too, there's 2 ponds on the map.
That's
But
correct.
on the schematics that I see, there's only one pond. What are you gonna do with the other pond?
The one pond is gonna be adjacent to the existing house that's going to remain. The other pond is a pond that doesn't stay full. It doesn't have a sizable watershed to keep it full, to keep it as an amenity. So we're gonna remove that pond and move it to some other locations to address the detention and water quality for the development a little farther, actually to the west, near the property line of the discharge.
So there's no source feeding that second pond?
It's a small source, and so I've gone back and Googled images, and it very rarely is full, so.
What's the source? What is the source? I mean,
It's
if you take the pond out, where's that, whatever source coming in gonna go?
it will eventually come down to one or two additional detention ponds that we put. We've shown 2 additional detention areas to the west of that.
Okay. All right, where will those people that live there, where will they send their kids to school? And I'm just preliminary, do you know what school system will?
I don't know.
All right,
Morgan Jordan,
More majority.
it's in the Morgan Jordan figure pattern.
okay. All right, now, our team has requested a preliminary drainage analysis. I would ask that be changed from a should to a shall. And I would even, ask for a full drainage study for that whole property, especially in the light of what you told me, that you're gonna be moving ponds and covering ponds and rerouting a storm, drain, and I have a couple other questions. Have y'all done a traffic study? Because y'all are got an egress and ingress right in a pretty site-limited curve.
Maybe Rick to speak.
I think that is only wide, second address. We've actually been speaking with Ken Boozer. Ken said the county is actually looking at a project to enhance the intersection of Glenwood and Bob Glen Road. So he didn't feel like any other improvements were needed for our particular development.
Well, Bob Glen and Glenwood is on the round. That's a different intersection.
Correct. But
Bob, your egress is in the curve of Bob Glen.
right, and we meet the site distance requirement. Ken has looked at that, and as far as I'm aware, he had no concerns with the placement. So we'll make sure we have adequate site distance.
And also, I noticed in here, you got 1 parking space per development. So y'all gonna be crunched up.
That's what's required in the zoning regulations for single-family residential.
So otherwise, if they have 2 cars, they have to park in the street.
Well, currently, one is just what is required.
Okay, oh, okay.
That's just listing what is required in this zoning regulation.
And what are these lot sizes projected to be now that we've subtracted off 10+ acres off the 60-something?
Over 20,000 square feet. Zoning minimum is 15,000, and so we, for direction from Michael, we've increased that to 20,000 square feet. But most of them are larger than that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions for that? Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to this particular issue? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed.
Mr. President, I have received some opposition to this. And in light of the drainage situation, I would move to delay this action dependent on the drainage analysis that's right on Turkey Creek. And I would move to delay the zoning change.
Okay, delay for a date and time, certain time.
Well, up to these drainage studies are done.
Okay.
And we'll check into the road situation also.
Okay, we have.
So, Mr. President, before we carry the motion, then I'd like to speak to the motion as it relates to Mr. Morrison. So, I'm kind of seeing head nodding and so forth. So is there, Mr. Morrison, a time certain that you are proposing that maybe we need to consider before we finalize this action we're about to take?
What we can do, you're technically holding the public hearing today. As soon as they complete the drainage analysis and we get some feedback from staff, we can just present it back to the county commission just for regular consideration. We could, of course, do another public hearing if you so request or so require, but it would just be a matter of when we receive the information, when we can review, when we can come up with some staff comments, we can get that back before we begin. I hate to put a date on it because I don't know the speed at which this may take or run, but like I said, we've done things like this in the past before, and so, like I said, it would just be a matter of, once we receive it, we place it back on the agenda for your consideration.
So then, Mr. President or County Attorney, would you then say that maybe the motion need to be amended to say until the information that has been requested is received, and then we can make a proper action at that time? Because it's apparent to me that we do not have to have an additional public hearing. It's more or less getting the information into the zoning office, and then therefore, once that information has been received, it'll come back before the commission, but it would not require a public hearing. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's
Mr.
correct.
Morrison?
That's correct.
Okay.
But another public hearing would be optional.
That's correct.
Okay, we have a motion.
So, Mr. President,
So for the benefit of the Madam Clerk, is the motion then to carry this over until such time as staff receives the information and staff will notify the Madam Clerk to have it placed on the agenda?
Is it a time limit on them getting the information?
Well, we don't know what that time is, so it's hard to set a limit. We don't know when.
but what's been stated is what,
Yeah, that'd be the motion.
all right? Second,
We have a motion.
and Mr. President, let's make sure that the clerk has what. the
Has a
county
proper
attorney-
motion.
That's right, correct.
Yes, we're
She's
doing.
got a lot of rights over here.
I do.
Mr. Roberto, would you, you know, I think we closed the public hearing, but go ahead, I'll make it second.
I guess my only question on that, as far as the drainage review, I mean, that's a matter of us actually submitting the construction documents. We certainly don't mind doing that, and that would be the next step in our process, but we would like to get a recommendation for approval and move forward on that subsequent to us submitting the appropriate drainage study and calculations, which will be part of our standard package that we do have to submit to Heather and her group.
And I'm sorry, though, there's a motion on the floor, we'll have to address that.
So, Mr. President, being that saying that we do have a motion on the floor,
I would call for a vote.
Okay, we have a motion, we'll call the question, would you
no, I
repeat?
already said second, but I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that the clerk has the correct motion.
Yeah, would you repeat the motion, please?
I do. It's a delayed action for the drainage study, at which time, Mr. Morrison will notify me to place it back on the agenda, and a public hearing is optional.
Does that satisfy you?
Hold on just a minute.
You'll give me just a second. That we can just vote it, that's fine.
John, how are you? right, you want to clarify that for the,
So Commissioner, we recommend that the motion reads, as you stated, but the time frame should not exceed 60 days for it to go back on the agenda for consideration one way or the other.
you good with that? All right, the motion is amended to have a time limit of 60 days.
Or the study be produced within 60 days.
All right, we have a motion to that effect.
Second.
And we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, that concludes the public hearing. So, next we have resolutions. We have 1 through 53 that were discussed and vetted in our pre-commission meeting. I know that we're going to remove item 13 for separate discussion. There is a pen and ink on item 4 of the Department of Community Services. They left the decimal point out that will be included in it. Is there any other items that we need to pull for separate consideration? Chair makes the motion.
Mr. President, I move items, hold on. How's that? 1 through 53 with the exception of item number 13, as printed. And thank you, Commissioner Tyson, and pen and ink change on item number 4.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very, very, very much. Commissioners, we have an opinion from our county attorney that an executive session is warranted pursuant to 3625A7A3 Code of Alabama for the commission to discuss with its attorney the legal ramifications of legal options pending litigation involving Jefferson County and controversies imminently likely to be litigated. The chair would entertain a motion to retire to executive session for a period of no more than 15 minutes.
Will there be an action after?
And there will be action taken after.
And Mr. President, then I'll go ahead and make a motion for us to, wait a minute, hold on, honey, before I do, because I'm not making a motion right now, but I will, Mr. President, for public consumption, we will be able to discuss this item once we return back to the base, is that correct, County Attorney?
No, that's right.
Not to some extent, to discuss
Well, I'm just
the
talking
item.
about, the item,
item,
not what we're
general.
talking about in the executive session. I'm not simple enough to do that. All right, so then that being said, Mr. President, I move that we go into executive session based upon or pursuant to 36-25A-7 at this time for a period of 15 minutes to return back to the dais at that time, which has been concluded, to take an action.
We have a motion. Second. Second. Ms. Steelberg, probably call the roll.
Yes. Commissioner Knight?
Aye.
Commissioner Scales?
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson? Commissioner Stevens?
Yes. At this time, we're retired into executive